Chakotay's Star Trek promotion almost made Chris Pine's Kirk becoming captain seem logical. In the vast history of Star Trek, rank and hierarchy have always been treated with a kind of respectful logic. Command had to be earned through years of service, tested leadership, and hard choices made in the vacuum of space. That's why when Star Trek Voyager's Commander Chakotay finally got his well-deserved promotion, it carried real emotional and narrative weight. But interestingly, it also cast a new light on one of the franchise's most divisive creative choices. Chris Pine's James T. Kirk being fast-tracked to captain in 2009 as Star Trek. When viewed alongside Chakotay's journey, Pine's instant promotion doesn't feel quite as far-fetched anymore. It almost makes sense. For decades, Star Trek has balanced idealism with realism, especially when it comes to Starfleet's internal logic. The 2009 Star Trek reboot was famously brash and fast-paced, reflecting J.J. Abrams' kinetic filmmaking and a younger, edgier crew dynamic. But even fans who love the movie often scratch their heads at one glaring detail. How could an impulsive, untested cadet like Kirk leapfrog through the ranks and become captain of the flagship in what felt like a matter of days? It was cinematic wish fulfillment, pure and simple, a legendary hero being born overnight. Then, nearly 2 decades later in Star Trek Prodigy, we see Chakotay, a veteran officer who spent years stranded in the Delta Quadrant, risking everything to uphold Federation principles, finally attain the title of captain. His rise wasn't flashy or rushed. It was quiet, earned, and reflective of everything Star Trek traditionally values about leadership. And that's exactly what makes his story the perfect mirror for Pine's Kirk. Chakotay began as a rebel, literally, a former Maquis fighter. He was never supposed to wear Starfleet uniform again, much less command one of its starships. When Voyager first launched, Chakotay's loyalty to his Maquis crew clashed with Captain Janeway's rigid Federation ideals. Over time, though, he became the ultimate bridge between worlds, the man who could mediate between 2 crews, 2 philosophies, and eventually 2 eras of Star Trek. His arc wasn't about ambition. It was about trust, respect, and reconciliation. So when Prodigy revealed Chakotay had become captain of the USS Protostar, it wasn't a surprise so much as a moment of recognition. This was a man who had been through hell and back, fighting the Kazon, the Borg, time paradoxes, and even moral compromises, yet never wavered in his commitment to the Federation's ideals. In a universe that often rewards boldness and risk, Chakotay's promotion was a triumph of patience and perseverance. Now, put that side by side with Chris Pine's Kirk. On paper, the two couldn't be more different. Chakotay's story is one of slow burn maturity. Pine's Kirk is all about speed and instinct. But in a strange way, Chakotay's eventual promotion gives retroactive legitimacy to the idea that Starfleet sometimes recognized leadership potential in unconventional ways. Kirk's meteoric rise, however cinematic, feels less like a fantasy and more like an exaggerated reflection of Starfleet's willingness to gamble on prodigies in moments of crisis. The Kelvin timeline is, after all, born of disaster. In that universe, Starfleet loses much of its top brass in Nero's initial attack. The organization is scrambling, desperate for someone capable of thinking outside the box. Kirk, for all his arrogance, embodies exactly what Starfleet needed in that moment, a chaotic genius who thrives under pressure. Seen through Chakotay's lens, Kirk's promotion doesn't look like nepotism or fan service. It looks like Starfleet following its oldest instinct, finding the person best suited to lead right now, even if the rulebook doesn't agree. Both men represent different facets of command. Chakotay is introspective and moral, the kind